thing too is social media makes us feel like we're doing the work. Makes us feel like we're doing some type of work when we take a screenshot or when we post something on our stories or when we regurgitate something or even if we say a download and it's like the actual work is in the living. Yeah, you have to do the emotional and spiritual work, but you got to live after that.
But every now and then you told to be still so that the
Oh
energy
yes,
can catch up. The
I feel like
energy
we're
has
being
to
called.
the energy has to catch up to you.
Yes,
Because
sir.
you can outwork the energy where when it do come in, it come in and knock you off your feet.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
I
it's
hope
like
a
a
bus come in and knock me off my feet. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. No, I'm not, universe.
you knock me off of my feet now,
And
mama. Yeah, so right now a lot of people are benefiting from a lot of the information, especially these young lions roaring. They
yeah,
not buying that slave ship bullshit no more. They not buy, they know who they is. They telling they peers, right? And now we at event horizon. Any minute now something big is gonna pop off that's gonna show us what we've been doing in secret in the public. So it's yeah, yeah. And now the convergence is real of the organic people because now we seeing Chief Warhorse calling for people, Ice Cube calling out people, right? Now remember, Ice Cube is a piece of water that's froze, right? So
right,
and it takes some heat to thaw out the ice,
right.
right? So he out there, putting it out there, he drawing the heat. When he finally come with the bombshell, because he laying the foundation for a bombshell announcement that he have,
Hmm.
you know. But he got to start saying them gatekeepers' names for protection. Because if he don't start saying their names, they gonna try to send somebody undercover at him, one of them secret assassins.
Right.
He put their name out there, now motherfucker know who they is. If something happened to Cube, we know who to go get.
Like, what do you mean? Say their name. Like, say whose name?
The gatekeepers that he calling out,
Instead of being subliminal, just say it.
and flat out say their name. Because if he don't say their name, we don't know who to get if something happened to him. If he say their name, we know exactly who to go touch. And half of California want him to say their names because they the ones that want to go get them motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Let them touch Cube. You ain't never seen Cali stand up. Let them motherfuckers do something to Ice Cube.
Yeah.
You gonna see Bloods and Crips and Lokes all together, bikers, all that shit. They not buying that shit. They know what time it is. The tribe's on the move.
Yeah, that's why they bringing in the alien stuff. Like, well, one thing is that they want to further separate. Ye are gods, so certain things in our anatomy make us certain things. And so if they start to instill fear when the rescue is about to happen, it's like you won't know who's your real savior. Not like that, but like who's your real partner in this help game. So they just trying to figure out which way to kind of maneuver the fear tactic, really.
Mm-hmm. But now we telling them the ones that look like us that's misleading the people clearly how to identify them. See, if they mislead them and they don't know no better, we can teach them. But if they're doing it on purpose, we can get rid of them.
Exactly. So what? Okay. So what do you think about judging people by the color of their spirit and soul? By their heart and by their spirit, by their character, as opposed to the color of their skin. How do you feel about that?
Look, it's 12 daughters of ISIS. That's the major earth tribes. 12 daughters of ISIS. They got all different skin colors and all different hair textures. You have some of them that's coal black with straight hair, and you got some of them that's pale white with afros, and everything in between. The problem is these hate doctrines have us looking for excuses to dislike other people that keeps us further divided. right? I know some pink people that I go to war with before I take anybody that look like me.
Me too. I'm starting to meet some, and that's what's really getting me. It's like, you know, I've seen people who are stubborn and egotistical that look just like me, and I've seen them who look different, you know. So I'm starting to see like the human nature in it all, and it really being about the individual's actions, you know,
Mhm.
and their actions tell you where their heart and their mind is. The heart and the mind is connected, and that's the spirit, you know, that they're holding within them.
One of
So
the things that us over here not aware of, it was white girl magic that kicked the Moors out of Europe.
exactly, because they were jealous of the melanated goddesses, and so even though it's the
No,
patriarchy right now, they,
no, no,
you know,
no.
they
You
fought.
gotta know who came over here to usurp us to understand what I'm telling you, the magnitude of
Okay.
it. The Moors came over here as conquistadors, English, Dutch, French, and Portuguese. They whitewash history because they the ones that's the free white persons in law. They came over here because they got kicked out of Europe. Now remember, they say the Moors civilized Europe. Why would you kick out your civilizers? What was they doing? Go look at the statuary of Rome and the babies drinking blood. So
Mm,
white girl magic kicked them out of Europe first before they came over here with that bullshit with Columbus.
okay.
They, they kicked them out for the same reason we trying to get rid of them. Parasitic
Right.
ass motherfuckers.
Gotta go.
When they used pale faces to block the institutions, we called the people that already whooped their ass over here to give aid and assistance to us, and they was pale faces. Because Big Mama said if they gonna block the institutions with the pale face, overrun the institutions with friendly pale faces, and that's how you beat them at their own game.
Right.
So go back to the early 1900s, you'll see all of these pale faces putting their secrets out in the public. Yo, Charles Russell's for the Jehovah's Witness, Joseph Rutherford, yo, Mary Baker Eddy's, yo, Madame Blavatsky's, yo, Aleister Crowley's, yo, Franz Bardon's, yo, Manly P. Hall's. They all putting their secrets out in the open so we can get free, right? If we don't overrun their institutions with friendly pale faces, we will never know what these motherfuckers doing in secret. But they still pushing the divide and conquer race doctrine.
Yeah.
Yep,
And see,
Jordan
our
Maxwell was very instrumental. He was the one who made the clearest understanding of the admiralty jurisdiction masquerading as our government. Right? Right. So when we looking at these people, we got to realize all of them people wasn't against us. It was more of them with us than it was against us. Yep, Anton LaVey. The Church of Satan. See, we ain't going, yep, Dolores Cannon, all these pale faces that was coming to help us to get free from the same motherfuckers that was raping their babies and drinking their baby blood they kicked out of Europe. Now, we done already been displaced from our castles to go fight in the Gullah Wars. So we call for the people that whoop their, what y'all do?
call your big
So,
cousins. You call
yeah.
your big cousins.
So when they all gay, when all of the so-called white witches was telling us the nature secrets that Big Mama taught them. You got to go back to the Salem witch hunts. The Big Mamas of this land was coaching them white girls, getting burnt up at the stake for telling them how to use yoni magic to heal the earth.
So is it fair to think that even in the 400 years of slavery, the atrocity that the melanated people experienced, that we had white brothers and sisters also experience the same thing at the same damn time?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, the slave narrative was derived from the Moors bringing pale-faced slaves over here with them. They wasn't bringing Negroes from Africa. They was bringing pale people from Europe, Mongolians from the wars with the Huns and the Mongols, and Vedics. These are the ones that they passed off as Native Americans to sign contracts as if they was us. We didn't believe in selling the land. Had they not written the Constitution in the blood of Crispus Attucks to put us into this conjure war, they never would have been able to be here this long.
Right.
There was a 200-year um 200-year conjure under the George Washington Challenge. In the end of 200 years, you gonna know what side of the ocean you from. So now they got everybody geared to tell us that we from Africa, but we was already here. I tell them motherfucker in a minute, I'm red Mississippi clay dirt walking.
See, and I think another reason why America is so open to all of the other countries, like, you know, telling them to bring their disabled and all of these other things here, and all of, you know, selling them an American dream, is because when you come to a new world and you don't know the language and you don't have the education, you can be programmed in whatever way they want you to. And then if you're not really connected to where you are from, then you can be further lost in the confusion, like, as well.
So you also have to review the epithets that America is known as: the great melting pot, the land of milk and honey, God's country, right?
Can I ask a quick question?
Mm-hmm.
So with you saying the melting pot, I felt like I was thinking that before all this, like in ancient Kemetic times, it had already been that. Is that something fair to say?
Yeah. America's always been the place where the world sent their orphans. This is why when they came over here, we had every shade already here, because we already been taking orphans of the world in to the tribes over here. And they took our kindness to mean we was weak, and they launched attacks on multiple fronts. Then they tell the story of what we did as fiction, and they tell the story of what they done as great conquests.
Right.
Right. So this how you know when they lying and when they ain't. They said the Califia Queens was made up. Califia Queens was a matriarchal council that governed the entirety of west of the Rocky Mountains, from Alaska all the way to Hawaii and the Samoan Islands. And they had a castle where Alcatraz is, that the Spanish Armada bombed. See, we don't,
like spellbound, or?
Right. Then they turned it into a military outpost. And that's why on the maps they paint California as an island, but the island was Alcatraz. And the castle replica is the Disney castle that you see on all of the Disney movies. Because they built a replica on land after the fact to commemorate the castle that was destroyed on the island. But we ain't supposed to have that much awareness of our culture to put the pieces back together.
Right.
Right. The Chiquita Banana Lady was the Hawaiian Califia Queen. She was the one who was their delegate to the Queen's Council on the island. Right. And they had women warriors that protected it, because they didn't want the men interfering with the women doing their business with the children. Right. Right, the men had a different role to play under that matriarchy. Yeah, they some slime balls.
Yeah.
Then they told us it was a fictitious story.
Right, but they weren't counting on the feeling of it being real for us, reawakening something within us.
Yeah.
Not too sure.
Yep, that's the story of Wonder Woman. It's the same fucking story. A lot of us don't remember when they first drew Wonder Woman. Originally was a black lady, right? She was melanated because that was the Califia Queens. They usurped her because they was trying to whitewash the hero image. But it's still the white lady's gonna tell you the same as the black ladies about the matriarchy. When you get done, you can't have heaven on earth without a matriarchy. It won't functionally work. It'll be what we see now. All kind of military exploits, keeping the children always at war with their inner self, so they can't never have a realization of their true self. The matriarchy teach every child to be their best self, right? And reinforce that across the whole village. When we recognize the talent, we encourage the child to cultivate the talent. They don't do that no more. Now, if you ain't playing basketball or football, they want you to sit your ass down somewhere. Ain't no respect for doctors and lawyers no more. Even
Right.
though these ones that's in these positions now are being misled and miseducated to push somebody else's agenda, it's still athlete is not supposed to be the go-to career to have. It was supposed to be for special people with exceptional talent.
Literally.
Now, now they turning that shit into something else. I don't know what they doing. Destroying the children with this shit. But we ain't supposed to say nothing. We supposed to just go along to get along. Got the
Yeah.
wrong one here. I'm gonna say something. I want to tear something up, but they keep telling me we brain banging, we ain't gang banging, and we shouldn't have to go to war. All we should have to do is assert our position collectively. Okay.
Yeah, I saw something today that said we don't necessarily need more believers in God, but we just need the believers in God to act like it.
Yep. That's it right there. And once they realize that the first principle of everything is love, then we can move forward at light speed. And I be like, I don't want to hear that love shit. I be the first one telling motherfucker, I don't want to hear all that love shit. We at war right now.
You know what's
But
so beautiful?
when the war over, I want my war story to turn into a love story. Fuck the dumb shit. Who
The
want to
thing
be at
about
war
it,
forever? I want my war
nobody.
story to turn into a love story. I want
But
to go from
that's the greatest
motherfucking
conqueror because you level up when you're in love. You feel invincible when you're in love. When you're in love, you take on every fucking day like it's a great day.
bring
You
that
get
shit
some good
on.
loving. You like, you know what? Your mind start thinking different. Your energy start being different. You start feeling different. So that's why the first step is to really love yourself. Like,
Before, when I say oppression is atmospheric, you can only oppress somebody according to how strong they are to endure the weight of the oppression. So you have these manifest deities in the form of paupers, right? Now, we see people, homeless people on the streets, and some of us be feeling pity for them. But then you have other people who feel like they got what they deserve because they must have been a bad person. And you got another group of people who figure that if they was a good people, somebody in their family would take them in, right? So we all these different views to view the homeless person that you see, right? So the homeless guy sitting on the corner with his cup, and people come. So most people pass him, don't even give him a second look. Occasionally, other people pass him. Some of them toss a quarter in the cup. Some put a couple dollars. Some will put a few dollars in there. But it's a different form of manifestation. You'll see what I'm talking about shortly. A lot of the ones who took the suffering on in order to carry the burden of the weight of the change has to be compensated according to the laws of nature. So a lot of the ones that we laughed at, scoffed at, looked down upon because they was in what we called adverse conditions of life, that had to be a position filled. Just like if you go read the jobs in the job descriptions, if you're going to be a janitor, you know you're going to wash toilets. So you got two options: don't be a janitor or wash the toilet. This is equivalent, the spiritual equivalent of the ones who we call paupers, the impoverished. Sometimes you see them people out there like that, but they might have millions of dollars in a bank account somewhere, and they just gave up their life they had to go living on the street as a pauper. So you look at the situation of the different levels. If you see that the people can't carry the burden of the society, you have to compel the strong ones at the bottom to just stand up. And that ends the game, because the atmospheric nature of oppression, where the strongest are normally the ones at the bottom. Think about it for a minute. If you're not strong enough to endure the pressure, however strong you is, that's where your pressure valve at. That's where your pressure valve at. So when you hit your pressure valve, you let the excess off. Now you can relax at the level you climbed up out of the oppression. Some of us, because we can take it, endure more suffering if it wasn't for spiritual purposes, it wouldn't be functional in the society. But because the society is the cross